Hello, universe. Welcome to the most spectacular wrestling podcast you will find on the internet. You are listening to Tag Me In, bro. I'm Joe Tantillo, and as always, I'm seated next to my terrific co-host, Taryn O'Connor. Say hi to the people, Taryn.
Hi to the people, Taryn.
If you're new to the show, the format is simple. Each week, we discuss all the magnificent moments, turbulent times, and stunning surprises that professional wrestling has to offer.
So turn your radio up and your opinions down, because we've got some hot tags coming up NXT, which means next.
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Oh hell yeah, universe, it's the J-lister Joe Tantillo coming to you live from New York. We are talking all things Monday Night Raw, and what a Monday Night Raw it was. For the first time in a long time, I know you know what I'm gonna say here, Kurt Angle is no longer the GM of Raw. That was the takeaway. Of course, I am just kidding. We had the return of the Universal title to Monday Night Raw, and it was defended in the main event. And of course, the giant surprise reveal that I personally didn't see coming, but perhaps a lot of you did, the return of the Shield. I was screaming. I was screaming like a small child. My excitement was through the roof. I love the Shield so much, and what better way than to get Roman back over immediately with everyone as the champion than having him A, defend the title against a beloved babyface on the episode, and B, reunite one of the most beloved and coolest factions in the history of professional wrestling. What a weekend it was between SummerSlam, which blew me away, frankly, exceeded all of my expectations. I was very happy with the majority of the stuff that was happening on that show. We'll get you a review of that later this week. And of course, NXT TakeOver, another classic takeover. So great. And that bald bastard Tommaso Ciampa retained his title against Johnny Gargano. So much going on in that takeover as well, building new storylines, continuation of others, and the culmination of a few. Just all around great stuff. What an exciting time to be a wrestling fan. We are going to be talking about all of that, well, not the TakeOver SummerSlam review, but everything going on with Raw today in this next 30 minutes. So buckle up. You know, we're taking you on your way to work, or we're taking you home, or you're procrastinating doing work with us, or whatever it is. We're going to bring more goodness to your ear holes because it is about to go down in a big way. Today, tomorrow, and every day, we are talking wrestling. So first things first, we'll cover the Raw rundown and give you the top 5 most important moments from last night's show. Then after that, we go to our Hi to the People segment, which we do every week, where we engage you, the audience, on various polls and questions, etc., because we want to gauge your opinion on what is happening in the world of WWE. And this week, we want to know, do you think that Braun Strowman will ever successfully cash in on Roman Reigns as long as the Shield is together? So we'll be getting your opinion on that and talking about that opinion next week. There's no Indie Corner this week. Typically we do the Indie Corner, but this week just a reminder that you should absolutely go out and watch some non-WWE stuff this week. There's great wrestling happening all over the place, probably in your backyard. Look up your local indie promotion. Go to a show. Can't recommend it highly enough. And finally, we will discuss our main event, where we talk about the question on everyone's mind this week. This week, the question on everyone's mind is, what can we expect in the Roman Reigns era that we have just entered now that he is the Universal Champion? So the Roman era is here. The Roman Empire has asserted its dominance over the world of WWE. What can we expect? And frankly, after this last episode of Raw, I think we can expect quite a lot. We'll be talking about that a lot more in the main event, and then we'll close out the show the same way that we do every week with our Stars of the Night. But first things first, let's get to that Raw rundown.
Woo!
Here are the only 5 things you need to know about Monday Night Raw this week. Number 5, Brock wants his rematch. Number 4, Ronda's championship ceremony. Number 3, Dean versus Dolph. Number 2, Triple H is coming back into the game. And number 1, Finn versus Roman is the main event. Now, before we dive into those, a few honorable mentions here. If you did not hear, and of course you did because we mentioned it in the lead up to this, Constable Baron Corbin has been named the acting general manager of Raw in relation to some of the stuff that happened on the episode, which we'll talk about in a later segment. And also, he fought Bobby Lashley, and Bobby Lashley destroyed him. So those are some things that weren't really that important, but, they're honorable mentions. Anyway, moving into the actual stuff. Number 5, Brock wants a rematch. So Paul Heyman showed up on Monday Night Raw. He looked Kurt Angle in the eye, and he said, "My client wants his contractually obligated rematch, and he wants his title back." So if you thought the saga of Brock vs. Roman was over, you are WRONG incorrect. And when is this match going to happen? Not clear, but possibly Hell in a Cell. They teased at it. Kurt Angle said it doesn't matter when the match is. That was not stipulated in the contract, and it's going to be a cold day in hell before he actually gets the match. That, to me, teased Hell in a Cell and the actual saying of Paul Heyman that he wanted it to be at Hell in a Cell. So I think we can expect Brock vs. Roman number 7 at Hell in a Cell. That being said, who knows what'll happen in that match, if it'll actually happen again, or if Brock will just go back to UFC and maybe quietly disappear forever. It wouldn't be the first time that WWE has teased a rematch that we've never seen. Moving forward, number 4 was the Ronda Championship ceremony. Everybody celebrated the brand new Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey. We love her. She's great. She's a true babyface. She's blown us away with her in-ring ability. Her promo ability still needs work, but she's working on it every week. We're happy with her. And she hates the corporation. She broke Stephanie McMahon's arm in the ring, or injured her arm, etc., etc. So she's still doing this I'm anti-corporate angle. We can expect Stephanie to throw the full force of the heels in the locker room at her. I wouldn't be surprised if Steph hires her own enforcer. Look for Shayna Baszler to show up on the main roster at some point and attack Ronda. But saying that now, I'm like, maybe Steph hires Shayna thinking she's on Steph's side, and it turns out because of Shayna and Ronda's deep friendship, Shayna shows up and helps Ronda anyway. But I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. But remember, you heard it here first. Lots of possibilities. Number 3 was Dean versus Dolph. Dolph lost the championship this past weekend. Seth is once again the champion, but it was Dean Ambrose taking on the show off in this episode of Monday Night Raw. It was his return to the ring after almost 9 months off with injury, and he looks fantastic. And I'm not just talking about how jacked up he is right now. If you watched his moveset and his in-ring style as compared to before he injured to now, you would think it was a completely different guy. He has stepped his game up. He has never been more ready for the main event, and I couldn't be more excited about it because Dean is one of my favorite wrestlers in the WWE on the main roster, and maybe of all time. I really love Dean, everything about him, and I've never loved him more than I do right now. So Dean won that match. He looks fantastic. His strength is out of this world. He had that pop-up dirty deeds. It was just crazy. He is going to be doing big things on this run, and we'll get more to that later. So after that, you have Triple H. He comes out, and he's cutting a promo on The Undertaker, and he's getting back in the game. But first he kind of, teased us, and he was like, that moment was so important. It was the end of an era. I have so much respect for all these guys. I don't want to do it again, but it's because of that respect that I'm going to lace my boots back up and fight Undertaker for one last time. Now, a lot of people are upset about the Undertaker versus Triple H match, including myself, but I'm not viscerally upset, and I gotta say, I'm very glad that they had Triple H cut this promo. I think it was really important to the success of this match. Obviously, anytime you get to see the Undertaker, it's amazing, but there are more and more people saying he's tarnishing his reputation by continually coming back to the ring, which I would agree with. But Triple H saying that when you work in the business and you respect the business so much, basically, that when Vince McMahon or The Undertaker says that you're the guy that they want to face for an important show, and because the fans want it, you do it. And I appreciate that argument. And granted, maybe in this short term we're going to be like, Undertaker shouldn't have come back and they shouldn't have had that match again. But, when you look back 30 years from now, when you're sitting at home, pondering some of the best things that ever happened in wrestling, are you really, and Smarks, you're not included in this thought process because you're going to disagree with me, are you really going to go, I loved the end of an era match so much. It was one of my favorite matches of all time. But then they wrestled again in a random show in Australia, and you know what? Now I don't like the end of an era match anymore. You might. It truly, if it does ruin the experience for you, I truly am sorry for you that it did. But honestly, the only person that can take your enjoyment of the end of an era match away from you is yourself. So I want you to think about that. I say, get excited. It's Undertaker and Triple H. Who doesn't want to watch it? I don't care how old they are. It's awesome. Finally, the number one thing, Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor in the main event for the Universal Championship in what was an incredible, incredible match. Both of the guys got in all their big moves, which we love to see, but that's not what made it incredible, is it? The crowd was electric. I mean, they were super behind Finn, but like they didn't hijack the match. Here's the thing, the Universal title has been absent, and Roman Reigns promised to bring it back into the main event scene and to bring it to Raw and to defend the damn thing, and he did it. And you know what? I fucking respect the man for that, and I know that it's just the writers making all these decisions, blah, 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 but in kayfabe, it is working for me, and frankly, the match was great. His character works better with him as the champion because he's the guy that never loses because he's fucking tough as shit, and now he's the champ, he can talk the talk, and he backs it up, and frankly, I could not be more excited for this, okay? So, buckle in, get ready, because we got a lot of Roman coming at us, and frankly, I think it's better to accept that, the version of Roman that we have now is not the version of Roman that we had a long time ago. And yes, I've criticized his booking, and I will continue to criticize his booking if it is bad. But it's harder for it to be bad when he's already the champion. Our biggest problem with Roman has been that he got opportunities that he didn't necessarily deserve in place of other people who were outworking him. Now he's the champ, and all those other people are going to step up to the plate. It's already happened with Finn, and they already acknowledged, hey, you never got your rematch. Why did he never get his rematch? Because he was put in a holding pattern until Roman got the title. So Roman's the champ now. We're going to see a lot more interesting matches, a lot more interesting and varied feuds, I think, and I hope. But we'll talk about that more in the main event because we're talking about the Roman Reigns era. But that's been your Raw rundown. We thought Raw was great. One of the best episodes in a really long time. Super happy with it. I want to see SmackDown beat it because it was just terrific. Oh, of course, that other thing happened at the end of the match where the fucking Shield returned. But we're going to talk about that with respect to Roman Reigns. Let us know what you thought about it on Twitter, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, etc., etc. We always like to know what you fans are thinking because we incorporate your opinions into the show, not necessarily to influence our own opinions and what we advocate for, but rather to make us think, and we put your opinions out there so that other fans who might have not thought that way can hear it because we value the opinions of the wrestling community. If we didn't, we wouldn't be a good show. That's my opinion, at least. If you disagree, I'll say it on the show. Anyway, let us know your thoughts on social media. And speaking of social media, it is time to say hi to the people. This week on Hi to the People, we want to know, do you think Braun Strowman will ever successfully cash in on Roman Reigns as long as the Shield is together? You can vote by tweeting at us, voting in our poll, using the hashtag #HotTag, or emailing us tagmeinbro@gmail.com, and sometimes we'll read out your opinion on the show, sometimes we won't, but we always read out some opinions. We love, once again, to know what you guys are saying. Now, with that said, let's talk about the results of last week's topic. So, last week we asked you, which Raw SummerSlam match will steal the show on Sunday? First of all, everybody tweeted at us SmackDown matches, and there was a separate poll for SmackDown matches. So, if you're a fan of the show, and if you vote in our polls, rather than get frazzled and be like, why isn't AJ and Joe included in this list of polls, look at all of our tweets, okay? We got you covered. We got your back, Wrestling Universe. We know what we're doing. We've been doing this a long time. We will not fail you. And if we do, then we have lost everything. In the words of Dwight Schrute, someday we all shall fall. Anyway, so we asked you which Raw SummerSlam match will steal the show. Rowan vs. Brock, Ronda vs. Alexa, Seth vs. Dolph, Braun vs. KO. With 50% of the vote, Seth vs. Dolph won, and I would actually agree that did end up stealing the show. I thought it was the best match on the card from the Raw roster. So the other match that was second was Roman vs. Brock, actually, 21%. So not high hopes for Ronda vs. Alexa, nor Braun vs. KO. Braun vs. KO fucking sucked. Ronda vs. Alexa was okay. It was a weird squash match, but it was fine. It was fine, and I'm glad Ronda won. The right person won. I was afraid Alexa was going to win. Anyway, so you voted Seth vs. Dolph. Chrissy at GirlChris26 said none. But if I had to take a guess, Seth and Ziggler with Dean and McIntyre on the outside. Battlefront Boss at Battlefront Boss said AJ and Joe. So again, you guys were really down on the Raw matches, but you know what? You were right for the most part. The SmackDown ones were way better, but Seth and Dolph was great. I don't see how you could disagree with that, but maybe you do. As always, can't wait to hear your thoughts on next week's poll.
Nobody is ready for Oscar.
And now it's time for the main event. This week in the main event, we're talking about what to expect from the Roman Reigns era on Monday Night Raw. So if you live under a rock, Roman Reigns beat Brock Lesnar, finally clean, bing, bang, boom, in the center of the ring. Well, not 100% clean, but we won't get, for all intents and purposes, it was a clean victory. He beat him in the center of the ring 1, 2, 3 with a spear after hitting a couple of spears previously. Probably not enough spears based on kayfabe, but whatever. It happened. Roman's the champion. They ended that show real quick because we thought Braun was going to cash in, but he didn't. Everybody was a little bit, whatever. Roman's now the champ. It's his era on Monday Night Raw. What can we expect? What should we expect? And what would we like to see happen? Well, this conversation that we were gonna have regardless of what happened on Raw was altered drastically by what happened in the closing minutes of Monday Night's show. And that was when Braun Strowman came out to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase, which, by the way, it's important to note that they did not ring the bell, so he did not lose that briefcase, which is they've almost never handed the thing over, made the announcement, and then not rung the bell. So that was really close. But it's interesting to know that it's just dependent on that bell ringing. Anyway, so Braun comes out, says he's cashing in, and what happens? Well, we hear Sierra Hotel Echo India, the L1 Delta Shield. What's the L1 again? I can't remember. Lima? Lima. Whatever. I'm sorry. I don't remember. I should know because I love the Shield so much, but I had a long day of work today, and so I'm a little bit fuzzy. Regardless, it doesn't matter. We hear the Shield thing, people go fucking crazy, including myself. I was screaming at my television. It was awesome. I love the Shield. Once I see that frickin' SWAT gear, I lose my mind. It's one of my favorite factions of all time. They just do so much good when they're together. They elevate each other so much. And the last reunion was a complete bust. So I'm glad we're doing it again. We're doing it when Seth is the IC champion and when Roman's the Universal champion. Hell, have Dean get the tag belt somehow with someone else. I don't even care. You can just be like, Dean has it, and then there's some other guy. Like, fucking, what happened to Nicholas? This is when we need Nicholas. I hate Nicholas, but this is when we can, or the concept of Nicholas. I don't hate the small 10-year-old boy. I'm sure he's a very nice boy. But I hate that they made a kid the champion. But bring it back, because now we just need a placeholder, because we got to get all titles on the Shield, and we're almost there. So the Shield is back. The Shield is back, and they are supporting Roman throughout probably the entirety of this Universal title run, which will keep him in the good graces of the fans. It's genius. Vince McMahon has outdone himself with this one. We're all ready to boo Roman. We're psyched that Braun has the thing, and he's probably going to cash in, and all of a sudden they bring back the Shield, and now I'm thinking, and I think a lot of other people are thinking, damn, you can't take the title off this guy that quickly, because we want to see a run where the Shield just dominate and they're all kind of champions together with holding all these top belts, kicking ass and taking names until you eventually then put someone else over. But I want a nice long run from Seth as champion, from Roman as champion, give Dean some big name matches. Like, make them all just dominate for a little while. Make this the second Shield era, and Roman Reigns is, he doesn't even need to be the focal point. It can just be that he is the champion and he's just having great matches. And then the matches where he's got legit opponents like a Drew McIntyre or a Braun Strowman, that's when you bring in the Shield. What I really want to see, and this is, I think, not a completely original idea, but something that's been batted around before, inevitably when you have to have these guys lose, what I would do is pick someone absolutely dominant. Say, I personally believe in putting over NXT guys. So either Drew is inevitably the one who wins, but have Drew. So this is my two possibilities. Have Drew ditch Dolph and team up with the Authors of Pain and just create a fucking cataclysmic team that just ruins people. I mean, that, like, I don't know if a lot of people like the Authors of Pain. I personally do because I watch them in NXT and I think they're awesome and they're super underutilized on the main roster. But Drew drops Dolph, teams up with the Authors of Pain to be his backup. That is a winning combination for a mega heel trio that can take that Universal title away from the Shield. Unless you get just three big hosses like Drew, Braun, and Lars Sullivan from NXT, which would just be a ridiculous trio of men that would be purely unstoppable, and I don't know how you would ever then get the title back off of them. But you got a lot of people on Raw who have the potential to go against Roman now for the title. So let's remove the Shield from the equation just for a minute. Matches I want to see Roman wrestle personally. I want to see him take on Drew. I want another series against Braun. I want another series against Kevin Owens. I want him to fight Elias, and I want him to fight Bobby Lashley. Those are just a few of the top guys on Raw that I think could have exceptional championship feuds with Roman that would all look very differently, feel very differently, they'd have very different storylines, and the matches would be very different as well. All of those guys, I think, would bring out different strengths that Roman has. And Roman's not the best wrestler, but he is one of the best workers in the company, and he excels at making people look great in the ring. He is not a ring general, because that's absolutely the wrong term, but whatever the equivalent of a general is for selling your ass off and making your opponent look better. I mean, I thought, granted, yeah, he beat Finn, but it really looked like Finn was going to beat him, and they're just, John Cena didn't do that, in my opinion. John Cena, in the dominant days of John Cena, you never, ever thought John Cena was going to lose. There was never a moment in his matches, which is why I loved John Cena when I was a kid, because he was literally Superman, and I was a little kid, and I was like, oh my god, he's the best. Nobody can fucking beat him. But Roman Reigns is dissimilar in that he elevates all of his opponents. Full stop. And I like that about him. I always have liked that particular facet of his skill set. So, guys like Bobby Lashley, Elias, Drew McIntyre, not so much in terms of needing elevation, but Roman is going to make them all look like $1,000,000, and whoever does eventually dethrone Roman, which I do hold should be Drew McIntyre, is going to come out shining. Because, let's face it, Roman's the most polarizing star in the WWE, no matter which way you slice it. There's always going to be a percentage of people that hate him. Some people say it's 50-50. I think it's 60-40. I think 60% of people hate him, 40% of people love him, and then there's some floaters in the middle who go day by day, depending on whether he's been good or bad that week, like myself. But, when it comes down to it, whoever beats him is going to get cheered for that reason. But it's also going to be because he's going to be presented like a legitimate, dominant champion. Whereas Brock was portrayed as dominant, but illegitimate in that he never showed up. He violated all of WWE's kayfabe rules about actually defending the title, and he didn't care. Roman brings pride to the title. Roman brings a constant face to the title. Roman brings great matches to the title. He's no Kenny Omega or Hiroshi Tanahashi or AJ Styles or even Seth Rollins. He's not going to wrestle 5-star matches all the time that are big technical showcases, but he is going to put on a show, and he's going to elevate his opponents. And that is what we can expect in the Roman Reigns era. Perhaps, the promos will be similar from him because it's always about his yard. But if you just disregard that and look at long-term, what he is actually going to be able to do for this title, a title which we declared dead not that long ago, he's going to breathe life back into it. He is Roman, the defibrillator Reigns. And he's going to recharge the title and make it worthwhile and worthy of the main event once more. And I am personally very, very excited for him to do just that. That was a great discussion. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Let us know on social media what you think about the Roman Reigns era. I know a lot of people are just pissed, and that's fine. WWE deserves to have a lot of people just pissed because the booking was piss poor for so long. But if you're like me and you love wrestling and you try to find the bright side in it all the time, which we really do, you should look forward to this era because I think it's going to be exciting, and I think we're going to have a championship that has credibility, that we can value and get excited about once more. So, that being said, let's close out the week with the way we do every single show, with our Stars of the Night. Here are our Stars of the Night for Monday Night Raw, August 20th, 2018 edition.
You just made the list!
Number 3 is Finn Balor. Finn, wow, what a week you've had. A surprise return in the Demon, sticking it to Constable Baron Corbin, and having finally, after 2 years, your rematch for the Universal title and excelling. Finn has, in my mind, absolutely returned to the main event. He has proven that he is durable. He has proven that he is lovable. He has proven that he is a superstar in every sense of the word. So, Finn, you are on the list this week. Star number 2 goes to The Shield collectively. Welcome back to the Hounds of Justice. We could not be more excited to have you. You will wreak havoc throughout the WWE in the name of good, which has always been confusing and wonderful. To see Seth, Roman, and Dean, in my opinion, all basically achieve their final evolution and then reunite is going to be wonderful bliss, carnage. It's just going to kick ass, and I'm super excited about it. And the number 1 star of the night is the Universal title. The Universal title, long considered dead, has once again returned to life in the main event of Monday Night Raw, and frankly, it is so long overdue. We could not be happier about it. We know that the fans are happy about it, and creative has to be happy about it, frankly. The fruit roll-up belt is back in our good graces for the time being. So, Universal title, you're the number 1 star. You deserve it. That will do it for us here at Tag Me In Bro. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, on Podbean, on YouTube, on Spotify, on TuneIn, on Stitcher, on iHeartRadio, and a couple other places that I always forget about. We're everywhere where podcasts can be found. And if you like the show, please drop us a 5-star review on iTunes especially, but on wherever you're listening. It really helps us to grow. We reached over 5,000 downloads just this past week, which is exceptional. If you like this show and you know other wrestling fans who don't listen to it, please go and tell them about it. I hope they would like it. If you love it and you're their friend, I'm sure they will. Word of mouth helps us grow so much. And be sure, of course, to go and follow us on Twitter at TagMeInBro. Join our almost 9,000 followers in our wrestling debates, discussions, etc., etc. I say it every week because when we get to 10,000 followers, we will be creating, producing, and selling merch. You want Tag Me In Bro tees, beanies, koozies for your beer, whatever, we're going to be making it. And those of you who follow us on Twitter are going to be getting those links first and foremost, and you can show off all your awesome Tag Me In Bro merch to your friends, and they'll be super jealous because we got some pro graphic designers who have some amazing designs coming. These are not things that you're going to want to miss. So, one final thing, a big congratulations to Tommy Rowe. He won the prediction series this past Sunday. He is the first host to be the undisputed Tag Me In Bro champion. He beat me on the tiebreakers. Congratulations to Tommy. I'm super happy that finally I'm sad I didn't win the title, but don't get me wrong, I'm going to get it. I am going to get that title for me undisputed before too long. I was so close, but I'm super happy for Tommy. I'm super happy that we finally have an undisputed champ. He is a wonderful, wonderful man. And as long as my brother and ex-host has no claim to that title, I couldn't be happier. He's nowhere near it. We changed our password so he can't hack into the account again. All is good in the world at this moment with the Tag Me In Bro family. So that being said, I have been Joe Tantillo. To all you fans, followers, and friends out there, thank you for listening. We appreciate you. We care about you. You are terrific. There we have it. That has been Tag Me In Bro for this week. Goodbye, universe.